Welcome to the commentary booth where we watch and you guessed it, commentate on the week that was in movies and TV. I'm your host and play by play commentator Jamie Apps, and each week I'm joined by a rotating cast of colour commentators to help you find your next viewing treat. This week I'm joined by a marketing director who lists their favourite movie as The Gentleman and favourite TV show as Parks and Rec. Welcome back to the show, your friendly neighbourhood pub enthusiast, Jaxon Carr.
Good to be back. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. How's things on your side of the world?
Yeah, good. Just up at my parents' house this weekend. So they got a new Labrador. So just looking after them while they're doing their boomer thing, playing golf today. So yeah, it's nice.
Drafted in as the dog nanny.
Yeah, the dog, because there's two labs now. So like mum was like, the dog can't be left alone. And I was like, okay. So there's worse things that could happen. Yeah, no, they're sitting outside at the moment. One of them woke me up at 6 a.m. by barking heaps, but it's all right.
Yeah, at least they're Labradors. They're not like my mum's dog, Staffies, who are destructive as all hell.
Yeah, my roommate, we have a Staffy back in Sydney, so I'm very aware of that.
Yep. So this week, we're allowing the symbiote to take over as we review the third and final entry into the Venom trilogy, Venom: The Last Dance. In this one, Eddie and Venom are on the run following the events of Venom: Let There Be Carnage. And they're facing a pursuant from both worlds, so they have the army chasing them and a new mystery enemy. And as circumstances tighten, they're compelled to make a heart-wrenching choice that could end in the end of their symbiotic partnership. What did you think of this one before we dig into all of it?
I liked it. I have always been very vocal about the fact that I like the Venom movies. I'm a big fan of them. People don't like them, I do like them. I really enjoyed this one, and I thought it just was the perfect trilogy for me, considering I like the movies.
Yeah. I remember when we walked out of this, I was like, that was better than the second one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was better than the first one, but then like since then, I've been seeing so many people hating on it. I'm like, I don't know why. What was so bad about it? Like, yeah, it was cheesy and ridiculous, but what did you expect from a Venom movie? They're all been cheesy and ridiculous.
That's the whole thing that, as you said, that they do. It's cheesy, ridiculous. Tom Hardy plays it well. It's Sony just pumping out like Spider-Man villains so they can keep like their whatever it is.
Yeah, so they can keep their license.
Yeah, the license and stuff. And they did it well, and I really enjoyed it. So if you didn't, but please continue watching.
Yeah. So this one was written and directed by Kelly Marcel, who has previously written 50 Shades of Grey. They were a writer on Mad Max Fury Road. They wrote Cruella, and they've been a part of the writing team for all three of the Venom movies. But it was their directorial debut. Again, like I thought it was a pretty solid directorial debut. The one sort of there are two main criticisms I have of the movie. Tom Hardy's performance, not his best one, mainly because it's like, it has that whole, I'm just seriously hungover element to the storyline, and it kind of just makes his character just be a little bit like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then my other criticism was later in the movie. So they have this pursuant from space that anytime Venom fully takes over, it's basically like a homing beacon, like, here I am, come and find me. And they go from super paranoid about that, and Venom's not willing to do anything to help Eddie. But then they get to Vegas, and Venom's like, oh yeah, sweet, I'm going to party it up and dance around with the old lady. And it's like, 2 seconds ago, we were mega paranoid about this. What's going on here?
And you've forgotten about it for an extended period of time rather than just in and out to try to get you out of a bad way, like say in one of the scenes. But it's literally you're dancing around in a penthouse, you're playing the pokies or the slots in Vegas, you're literally living it up. But I guess that's Vegas for you. As someone that's been, and as someone with an old rubber arm, I think it's kind of an ode to the fact that no matter what you do in Vegas, you could go there with the best intentions, but it just takes over. And it's much like, I guess, like it's the
Vegas always
taking
wins.
over him. Yeah, Vegas always wins. So I just think that was kind of like, personally, I see it as a tribute to Vegas and how it can take over even aliens. So it's a bit crazy. city.
Yeah,
Can't wait to
that
go
makes
back.
sense. I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, that does make sense. And your upcoming trip, I can see you dancing around in a penthouse, maybe?
Yes, crying in a penthouse after Cronulla lose, but not really remembering it after 4 footy games in a row. So yeah,
Who are we playing in Vegas this year or
Penrith.
next year? Okay, yeah, we'll probably lose. Great.
I literally got a Panther tattoo yesterday in Newcastle, so just the pain here will be the pain here later. So,
Why did you get a panther tattoo? What are you doing?
oh, my friend had a flash sheet, and I've always wanted to get a Panther, just a head. So, like, it's just, I don't know.
Okay.
It's just it fills up the arm. Now my arm's up there, it's done. But I've got a shark down there. We just next I'll get probably a West Tiger or something because we'll lose to them at some point. But yeah,
We lost to them
Venom
this year,
tattoo.
didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I was there.
That was gross. You're going to run out of spots soon. Where are you going to, if one arm's full?
Oh, legs. I think I'm gonna do my back, but I've even got a Marvel tattoo. It's half Iron Man, half what's his face? Oh, I forgot his name. Jesus, man.
Spider-Man?
Stanley. I'm
Ah,
mind
Stanley.
blank. Yeah, I got it after Stanley passed away, and I was like, I'm looking at it right now, but yeah, it's too close to comfort down there, so I won't get my legs out.
Just channeled your Eddie Brock hungover moment there.
Yeah. I did.
That was one thing I did say to you when we were watching it, when they say, how many hangovers can you have in a day? And I was like, Jackson? What did you think of some of the other symbiote characters? So we had Stephen Graham, who is Otto Hightower from House of the Dragon, as Patrick Mulligan. He ends up bonding with a symbiote named Toxin. And then we also have a lady named Sadie Christmas. She bonds with a green and red symbiote. See what they did there?
Yeah,
Named Lasher. What did you think of those
I
additions
like
to
the
the?
fact there was more symbiotes. Like, I obviously that with the symbiotes, there's a lot out there, and it's nice that they could come down and bond and put more in there for the final last dance as well. Last dance, that what it's like. So I like the fact that we got to see a bit more exposure of that and just see how they are with other humans. So it was cool, and that whole like Area 51 thing, and that was wild.
Yeah, I like the uniqueness of the different colors and stuff. I would have just liked them to be a bit more like less muted and more like poppy different colors.
Mm,
Like the in that final battle sequence when it is just kind of CGI out the wazoo all over the place.
mm.
They do kind of blend into each other. It's like, is that the green one or the yellow one or the blue
Yeah,
one? I'm not sure.
I guess with Venom though, it's always like more of a darker character compared to other in the Marvel world. So it kind of like pays tribute to that as well. But yeah, when you've got like the CGI battles and stuff, you're like, what am I looking at? Who's doing what? So it's kind of one of those things where like, I don't know, maybe they were hungover as well with the final Venom, and they're just like, let's just get this out. Let's just get what we need to be done, and we'll deal with it later.
Yep. And then the big ultimate villain for this movie, Andy Serkis as Knull, who is the creator of the symbiotes. What did you think of that addition to the story?
I don't know where it was in the other movies. Like, I just the thing I don't like about certain Marvel things is that there's this big person, this villain that's been around for a million years, but then all of a sudden they've come in the third one, and there's no reference or not. Like, remember, there was no slight references to it in the other movies previous. Whereas, like, yeah, if they knew what they're doing and they signed a 3 deal contract with Tom Hardy, maybe they could have eventually led to that and had some like Easter eggs throughout the other movies. But the fact they did it, it's kind of just shows that maybe once again it's that hangover thing where they're just like they're going one at a time, thinking maybe we're not going to get to the next one, and then they finally
Mhm.
got there and like, okay, cool, we can bring this in now.
Yep. Yeah, like they don't even talk about, oh, there's this bad guy out there that
Yeah,
destroyed our planet. I remember in the first one there were teasers for Carnage. So when
yeah,
the second one came around and we got Carnage, it felt like there was a payoff.
yeah,
This one was kind of like, oh, we need a bad guy.
yeah.
That was a bit
Wasn't like
disappointing.
you look like Thanos. Like there was, you knew that eventually Thanos was coming, so there was that leading to it. Whereas this is just randomly they've just gone like, oh, you're in.
Yep. And there's even a reference to Thanos in this one. So they
Yeah,
mention other MCU bad guys. but they didn't
Yeah.
mention the one that is the key player in the Venom universe.
But then I also got confused with the whole Thanos thing because whether it was Venom or Tom Hardy asking about Thanos and then he was explaining what Thanos was, clearly if you lived in Earth, you knew that. I can't remember if there was like a Men in Black type moment where everyone forgets what happened. But if you're Tom Hardy, you knew that Thanos was around. So unless it was like Venom taking over, which it wasn't, how did that all tie in? That was just odd. It was just like weird.
Yeah, I think it was just them like they'd been shot back to their universe from the
Yeah,
actual MCU universe, and they were trying to explain it to Danny Rojas
yeah.
at the bar. Like, you
Football
don't
is
remember
life.
this guy with the yellow
Yeah,
stone? Like, what are you talking about?
yeah. Okay.
Um, and then yeah, that Knull character, he's also barely even in the movie as well. Like,
Yeah,
there's a scene at the start that is just weird. Like this guy like trying to get out of this prison, and then he sends his like xenomorph alien cockroach things after Venom,
yeah,
and none of him again until
yeah.
the very end, and then he pops up in the post credit. You're like, oh, yeah, that. So are we getting another movie where we actually get the story of him, or are we just this is it, we're done?
It just could be one of those things that they might just like put out there and be like, "Hey, if we need to do this, we've got it." So then at least there's a little bit more pre-planning in this final one where like they're like, "Oh, we need to pick up a movie option. Let's do this." But I don't think they will. I think that this is done now.
Yep. Yeah, I kind of just hope that I wish it'll never happen because Sony get to keep all the money by making these.
Yeah,
Just give up the license and let the MCU have Spider-Man proper back and
yeah,
all of the Spider-Man like spin-offs.
yeah.
Like imagine Venom in MCU proper. Would have been
Oh,
awesome.
so good, especially like Tom Hardy as well as an actor with like the whole Venom thing. It would have just added another layer to it and would have been good, more star power for Marvel. It just would have been brilliant, but Sony are greedy. What am I? Sony? I'm on a HP.
Yeah, like I would love to just see like yeah, let's send Venom into the MCU. Let's get like Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales, like
Mm,
let's get those characters in there, but I don't know how many of those we're going to get. Like they made the deal to allow Spider-Man to go over and like
mm,
the Green Goblin, but who else are they going to allow to go back over there? Like it's a bit
yeah,
annoying.
no one.
Are you a trading card collector or a fan of Australian pro wrestling? If so, you're not going to want to miss out on the limited edition Australian wrestling cards. Each set includes 50 packs of 10 cards, including some of the country's top wrestling talents like Robbie Eagles, Shane Haste, Madison Eagles, Hartley Jackson, and they have Shaza McKenzie listed, although she is not a favorite. The velocities, and a lot more. There's wrestlers, referees, announcers, commentators that are featured, giving you a full appreciation of the Australian independent scene. The cards sold out a lot faster because cards are hot right now, as I'm sure Jeremy Lambert will tell you. But you can order your Australian wrestling cards now at Pario Magazine. That's PARIO magazine.com.au/AUS WRES cards. Follow Australian Wrestling Cards on social media at AusResCards for updates. Join the hundreds of fans who have already discovered the excitement of Australian wrestling cards.
What did you think of the symbiote zoo as well, with Venom just taking over anything and everything he possibly can? So we get a symbiote horse, a fish, and a frog, and then I assume an Australian exclusive little
Yeah,
teaser in the credits, the symbiote kangaroo as well.
yeah. I thought that was good, and it's probably one of those things where like the different regions they'll pick animals or maybe references to the countries. If it's a big enough market, they're obviously not going to do it in. I'm not going to name any countries in case we get people from the country being like, "You paid out our country," but like, yeah, I think they're just kind of like maybe in New Zealand they might take over
A kiwi.
like Kiwi, or like, yeah, in England they take over anything because that's what they do in England. But sorry,
Not wrong. Their history is not great.
no, But yeah, hopefully they did that because that's always like a nice little touch with it. But I guess you just see that with the bigger markets where they've got, they're able to do that.
Yeah, like they can do the kangaroo here, the US, they can do like a bald eagle or something, and like
Or
some of the African countries could get like a lion, and
yeah,
you get like elephants in like India and stuff like that. So
that'd be
there's
awesome.
possibilities and options. Japan, you could do like, I don't know, like a koi fish or something, but I suppose there's already a fish in the movie. Pandas,
Godzilla.
symbiote Godzilla would be wild.
Yeah. Me into that.
And then I did like that within the movie itself, there was a little bit of foreshadowing with how it would play out. Like in the opening scene, we see at that Area 51 black site as it's getting like shut down, they melt an entire truck with acid, and I was like, we're just gonna brush past that. Nobody's gonna like mention
I didn't
truck
think of
just got
that.
melted. And then at the end, it all comes back and it plays out with that's how they take out these xenomorph cockroach things.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. That's why you're the boss on this.
I was a little bit annoyed with how that final battle played out as well.
Yeah, I'm with you with that. It just comes back to the hungover thing. I just think by the end of it, they're just like,
yeah, because like you have there was like half a dozen different symbiotes running around fighting one of these bugs.
Yeah.
And just getting their ass handed to them over and over again because they're all like attacking it individually. And then the signal goes out and a bunch of bugs arrive, get teleported to Earth. And then all of the other symbiotes have been killed and destroyed. So Venom's like the only one left. And then there's like the lightning girl, the pink lightning one. She's still alive, but the main one is Venom. And he just randomly like just gets real big and just engulfs them all. I'm like, if that's a power, why didn't we do that when we had 6 symbiotes and 1 bug?
Yeah, it's just those things where like there's a few loose ends that they probably could have done better, but I don't know, just goes to show Venom always had this. Maybe it was just the fact that Venom always had this in him, and he didn't realize until he was under like severe anguish, more so than any other time, that he could just conjure this power as like one last thing, and he probably knew that this is the end. Let's put all our energy into making this the end and making sure that Tom Hardy can go to the Empire State Building and live happy. I mean, Statue of Liberty and live happier ever after. So
yep. Yeah, that ending, shockingly sad and heartfelt. I didn't expect to feel like kind of emotional at the end of a Venom movie. I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like with the flashback with the song Memories. I was like, oh my God, why are you making me feel sad in a Venom movie? I'm supposed to be laughing.
I mean, I think they did it well because obviously you got the 2 people together as one. So obviously it's like so to speak, like a breakup, whatever, when he dies, like Venom like goes. So it's one of those things where it's nice that they had that tribute, whereas like, because they obviously have gone through a lot together. So, and we've gone through a lot with them. So
yeah, it did feel like a nice conclusion to it. Like, okay, the trilogy is wrapped up. It's done now. But then we got that post-credit, and I was like, if this is the end, like, why did we have that post-credit? I suspect that Knull character is going to end up being, like, pretty important in the Kraven the Hunter movie that's coming out later this year.
Yeah.
I would assume that's the only reason they had that post-credit in there. Otherwise, it's very weird that this is supposed to be the end of Venom, but we've got a post-credit to tease a villain.
Yeah. And also, I don't know why he'd sign up to do a movie when it had so little to do with it. It's not like you just want to jump in like a Marvel thing. You assume that there is something down the line.
Yep.
Because it's an actor of note.
Yep. What did you think of this sort of overall tone of the comedy and the B plot with that family as well?
I love that family. I thought they were great at first. Like, these guys are weird, but I love the family and how like the ending with it. There was certain elements of the movie that I really enjoyed. You could tell there was a bunch of Tom Hardy touches in it. So
Mhm.
like there was one random scene where I can't remember who it was, but they just panned over and then it just went into like someone tying up these like air, like Jordan air, like hectic, like Jordan. I'm not a shoe person, but I knew that those shoes were hectic. So, and Tom Hardy's a massive, massive sneakerhead, so you knew there was that there. And then there was another the scene when they're fighting the dog fighters, and Tom Hardy's very known for having like being a big advocate for homeless dogs and rehoming dogs and like stuff like that. So you knew that there were, and there probably was more as well, but there was a few touches with Tom Hardy having his hands over it, which I really enjoyed. So I think the comedy was good. The Tom Hardy thing was good. The subplot was cool. The sadness of the ending really, it just all tied together really well. There are a few little like plots to it where you could question it, like also like how they just brushed off Spider-Man after the ending of the last one, and there was no reference. There was like, oh, I hate these like multiverses, and then that was it. It's like, oh, everyone was excited for Spider-Man, but then you knew at that point we weren't going to see any Spider-Man, whether it was Andrew, Tom, Toby, or like Miles, or anyone. We just knew at this point, okay, Spidey's doing his thing.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest disappointments with these Venom movies. There has been no Spider-Man. It's like that's kind of the whole Venom thing, that these two come together. Like, so that's a bit disappointing. I thought the comedy was kind of up and down. Like you could tell that there was a lot of ad-libbed lines and moments in this, where some of them like hit and were absolutely hilarious, and then others fell super flat and was like, "Ugh, that's just cringy."
Yeah, some of those moments, it's like you just have flashbacks to when you're out socially or you're at something and you try to make a joke and it just doesn't hit, and you're like, awkward.
Cool, thanks,
Yeah.
guys. I'm just gonna go now.
Except hundreds of thousands, millions of people are going to see these jokes fall flat, whereas I just embarrass myself in front of 4 or 5 people and I just have another beer, so I'm fine.
And then that B plot family, I thought they were like quite funny. I'm still not sure how it was so easy for them to break into a highly classified military base.
I mean, I guess to their credit, Area 51 was closing, so they probably were a bit
Security
lax.
was a bit lax.
Yeah, let's just give them that. Let's just no, they're highly trained. He knew it was his life goal to go to Area 51 and see an alien, so he just had this power that took over, and that's how he could get in by lifting a fence up. That's it.
Yeah, he's been planning this crazy heist for 30, 40 years now, so
Yeah.
it was all well thought out, not just opportunistic. There's a hole in the fence.
Yeah, the power of not having sugar gives you that ability. And also, if Area 51 is shutting down, why would you take your whole family into the joint where you know that something could be blown up at any time? If there are aliens in there, you don't know there's aliens in there. They're probably all dying, or they could come out and end up in the situation they're in. But hey, let's take our family that we travel across the country in a combi van. I don't give them any sugar, probably are vegans, and we sing songs. But hey, let's put all that skepticism aside, and there's probably been chemtrails or whatever. But let's go in here. That's fine. Like,
Yeah, like let's go to a military base where the security is gonna shoot first and then ask questions later. So I'll take my little kids in there. That's fine.
Yeah.
Great parenting.
Yeah.
Really high quality parenting.
And worked out in the end. He got to see an alien. So,
And then the one of the last things I wrote down was budget for this one was $120 million. But so far, doing pretty well. They've, in the last like 24, 48 hours, crossed the $200 million at the box office. So
nice.
Getting up there. They're doing almost to being profitable, because usually it's about double the budget to end up being profitable. So
yeah,
pretty close now.
That's good. I mean, considering it's been rinsed a little bit, and it's not like you're in peak school holidays throughout the world where you parents might be like, hey, let's take the kids somewhere. And plus you've just hit Halloween, which is wild. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it did that because there was the Venom and Halloween and stuff, but they've done pretty well with it.
So and it's been like pretty tumultuous in terms of getting this movie out too. Like I think it was delayed a couple of times, like with the writers and actors strike, and then just all sorts of bits and pieces. So for it to finally come out and be doing pretty well. I think that speaks to like the people that are going to see this. They know what they're in for. They're not going to see
Yeah.
Oscar-worthy film.
Yeah.
We're going to see a stupid, silly, funny Venom movie.
It's like my favorite term on the internet at the moment is brain rot, where you're just watching monotonously. I think this is brain rot on a big screen. You're just watching, you know it's silly, you know it's funny. You're not there for the plot, so to speak. You're just there to kind of forget what's going on with whatever for 2 hours and just watch the movie.
Yeah, it's the perfect like escape from just everyday life. Like let's just go and watch a stupid movie and have fun.
Yeah. Speaking of brain rot, no offense to these guys, but one of the highlights for me, obviously besides seeing you and seeing Tom Hardy, was seeing the Aussie Bro Squad there. Loved it.
You were so excited to see them there.
Oh, I was just at one point before the movie started, I was convinced that they were going to go up in front of the screen and do a dance. So if you don't know, the Aussie Bro Squad are these 4 lovely brothers on TikTok, and they just dance, and their mum looks after them. And then clearly their father's also there from what we saw with like outfit changes and stuff. And it was just nice to see them in person and like they interacting with people and stuff. And they were cool, but I just wanted to see them do a dance in front of the screen before it all started. But maybe at the next premiere they can get there. But it was just so nice to see them. Shout out my boys, Aussie Pro Squad. Oh, they're up Newcastle way. Maybe they can do a pub review with me while I'm up here.
Yeah, I was going to say, get them on a pub review. They can dance at the pub.
And because they're all like 17, they can have fire engines as a drink. And one of them's name's Jackson, same spelling as me. So shout out my boy.
Very nice. So yeah, the last thing I wanted to say was this film does attempt to have like a kind of poignant message overall, like about the pursuit of science over the safety of humanity. But that's another thing that's like quickly scrubbed to the side, put away. Let's just have fun.
Yeah. It's one of those things that they have in it, but it wasn't as explored as much as it could have been. I think what they just wanted to do with it was put a few things in there, but they just wanted one big last battle royale, let them go at it, maybe add a few more symbiotes and stuff, and just go at it, and then have literally like a clean break between Venom and Tom, and then have it like that last nice little thing at the end.
Yep. So then overall, in terms of a rating, what would you give Venom: The Last Dance out of 5?
I would give it 3.5 booms.
This goddamn guy.
Brain rot.
So you'll be watching AEW Full Gear in 2.5 weeks? 3 weeks?
Yeah, I love them. We can do... That's the next one. I'll watch it, and we'll do one of these around that if you want. And
you just want to see the Costco guys having a wrestling match. That'll be something.
Yeah, honestly, 3.5. I thought it was tying it all together. It's probably number 2 on my Venom tier list. But yeah, 3.5 stars. I think it works well for me. How about yourself?
Yep. Yeah, I gave this one a 3 out of 5. Like, yeah, it's a solid one. Don't go in expecting anything too crazy. Just go in, have fun, get a nice big soft drink, big popcorn, and just chill out, have fun. Don't do anything crazy.
Don't have the Venom Pizza Hut pizza because that was not it.
Yeah, it didn't look great. It looked like it was just a cheese pizza with some black sauce on it.
That sauce was weird. I mean, I had a couple of slices, but also, yeah.
So yeah, 3 out of 5. Just go in, have fun. Yeah.
If it's,
it
should be on
is
streaming soon anyway. If it's on streaming, if it's raining, just go watch it. Or if you're hungover or just need to kill some time, it's fun. It's not like I'd say stay in the cinemas just because of all the CGI stuff. But if you miss out, it's still great. It will still be great to see it on a screen, like at home.
Yeah, it'll be the perfect like Sunday Arvo, just want to relax movie when it hits a streaming service.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Thank you everyone for listening to the commentary booth. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on podcast services and on YouTube. You can follow Jackson on TikTok at @double_Carr. And you can follow me on social media at @JamyUpsMedia and @Pario Magazine. Thank you, Jackson, and we'll catch you at the movies sometime soon.
Boom! Thank you.
The Commentary Booth is a fan-funded production of Jamie Apps Media. You can support the podcast alongside our magazine, Pario Magazine, on Patreon at patreon.com/Jamie Apps Media. The following people supported at the publisher level or higher, and you cannot fathom how incredibly appreciative we are for their support.